Today's video will be short. It's a quick look at the damage report's John Iadarola and his reaction to the Taylor Lorenz Tucker Carlson spat. I'm not going to look at Tucker Carlson here. His entire show deserves its own video. So I'm just going to look at the damage report. A quick background. On International Women's Day, Taylor Lorenz posted a tweet reading, "For International Women's Day, please consider supporting women during online harassment. It's not an exaggeration to say that the harassment and smear campaign I've had to endure over the past year has destroyed my life. No one should have to go through this." Fair enough. Online harassment is out of control in general. I don't think there are many who disagree, and she's right when she says that no one should have to go through it. My issue here comes from how the damage report responds to Tucker Carlson's response to that tweet, and how this is an example of deceptive, divisive media practices. Tucker Carlson and others pushed back to varying degrees against Lorenz's tweet. You can find a link to Tucker Carlson's response in the description. You can certainly take issue with his methods, and I do, but again, I will save that for a different video. But if you're going to defend Taylor Lorenz, you should at least do some research into why some people take issue with her tweet, which John from the damage report hints at needing to do, but unfortunately doesn't follow through himself.
He keeps saying that fundamentally they're conflating disagreement with harassment. It's not harassment, it's disagreement, he's saying. About what? Because we've now had 2 nights of coverage and he will never define what they supposedly disagree about, except in theory, what counts as harassment.
Next, Bridget, John's guest, comes on and defends Taylor.
It's completely ridiculous. And you put it so well with everything else going on, in the news. This deserves 2 nights of coverage. And all Taylor said was women shouldn't be harassed. And we're not talking about disagreement. We're talking about this obsessive, people, because he seemed to say that, oh, Taylor thinks it's harassment to just use her name. I saw tweets directed at her that was just her name over and over and over again. That's not disagreement. What are they even disagreeing with her there? I mean, it's obviously not, it's, if anything, the thing that they're disagreeing about is that she is allowed to take up space on the internet as a woman who's a journalist, right? There's not anything that she is saying that anybody could meaningfully disagree with. The people who are responding to her are not disagreeing with, the substance of what she's saying or an argument that she's making. I think that most women who are journalists online would welcome that kind of thing. But we need to be clear, this is not about disagreement or an exchange of ideas. This is harassment.
Is that all she said? No, of course it's not. She talked about her own treatment, which is what people take issue with in light of what some call her tattletale journalism. So here are a couple issues that people take with Taylor and why they pushed back against her tweet. In 2018, Taylor wrote a piece for The Atlantic titled, "YouTube's Biggest Philanthropist Has a History of Homophobic Comments." First half of the story talks about him giving away money to make viral videos. She then links to 2 tweets between December 2016 and December 2017, where he uses the word. She also mentions a couple of times where he refers to himself as gay, but says he's not actually gay. She then says that while some of his comments may seem par for the course for an unaware teen boy, many of his statements would be offensive regardless of his personal sexuality. Okay, but do you need to write an entire piece in The Atlantic talking about things he said and apparently hadn't repeated since December 2017? Why? What is the point of bringing up people's past questionable behavior when that behavior doesn't persist? A second example, this one not so much tattletale journalism, but more of a full smear, comes from her article in the New York Times titled, "Trying to Make It Big Online? Getting Signed Isn't Everything." In it, she very one-sidedly attacks Ariadne Jacob, a woman who runs the talent management firm Influencers. She tells the story of a couple groups Ariadne managed who didn't like how the contracts worked, how Ariadne managed them and ended up leaving to join a competing firm. The article didn't interview any other of Ariadne's clients, certainly none that had anything good to say. Although the piece is very one-sided, the real issue is that Taylor's a client of United Talent Agency, UTA, a very large competitor of influencers, according to the attorneys representing Ariadne. Not only is Taylor their client, but wrote a very complimentary article on UTA. This is a very serious conflict of interest and has the outward appearance of using her position to damage those who compete with one of her sources of money. Third, she wrote a piece claiming that Mark Andreessen, a venture capitalist who invested in Clubhouse, used the R word on Clubhouse. According to a mod in the Clubhouse room in question, Nate Jones tweeted, "I modded that room. Here's what actually happened. Felicia explained that the Redditors call themselves R-word revolution. But Mark never used that word, ever. He referenced deep value. That's all. And this is why people block because of his horse dishonesty." She later deleted her tweet making the claim. I never found any actual apology from her for making a false accusation. I'm not trying to create hate for Taylor here. I'm trying to show reasons why people don't think she should be playing the victim when she receives substantial criticism. Some of her work is very good. Some is very one-sided, if not flat unethical. She has gotten very popular by attacking others, sometimes dishonestly. So back to the damage report. Both John, the host, and Bridget, the guest, claim that there is no reason for Tucker Carlson to come after Taylor. The claim is more that he's only attacking her because she is a female journalist. They claim that the only thing Taylor did was post a tweet about being harassed, and that is enough to incur the wrath of Tucker Carlson, which is blatantly false. This type of journalism, where one side of the story is given and absolutely no context of why someone might do something they disagree with, is the base of the modern culture wars. Yes, Tucker Carlson's reports were terribly done with no context, just attack. But if you want to defend Taylor, you should do a little investigative journalism to find out why she's been under attack. Perhaps there are reasons. When any media outlets engage in the culture wars, they simply are profiting on the division through its propagation. If the damage report wanted to be honest, they could have attacked Tucker's show for not giving any background, instead of just mentioning it in passing. And at the same time, given some background to actually educate everyone watching. But instead, they chose to pretend Taylor Lorenz is a faultless victim, furthering the culture wars to their own benefit. I want to be clear. I'm not claiming that Taylor deserves to be harassed. Online harassment is partially a consequence of constant one-sided journalists and influencers on both the left and the right. It will continue to exist so long as divisive media continues to exist. The only counter to the division we face is by understanding that we must all accept that the media we watch will often only show one side of the story in an attempt to get us to believe incomplete or false narratives. We must also push for the media outlets to put honest reporting over profit gained from divisive reporting. Expect more from your news. My name is Eric Schmidt, and I thank you very much for the view. If you would like to support my channel, please like this video and subscribe. It's more helpful than you might realize. If I got anything wrong in this video, please let me know below, but please give evidence, not just simple assertions. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.